Mateo's eyebrows.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the Discorded Whovians for this best and worst of New Who Companions. Here we are, we're recording on Wednesday 29th of March 2023. It's a Wednesday night, the clocks have gone forward. It was daylight till about 7:30 at night. Summer is on its way, which can only mean one thing: Doctor Who is slowly coming. We're another month closer towards
thank God.
60th anniversary specials, which can't come soon enough for many of us. But as it is, because we are obviously in the New Who era, it makes sense for us to go through the last 17 years of companion departures. Obviously, we don't know how the 60th anniversary is going to work. We don't know how it's going to play out. But ultimately, we've got 17 years. We've got 16 regular companions who have got departures in their own rights, but we have also got plenty of others to go through, including those, as you can probably see on the screen, the likes of Jackson Lake, Lady Christina D'Souza, Astrid Peth, Adelaide Brook. So many that even if they are one-off companions, we're including them because no doubt their departures did have an overall end result to the longer term of the programme in general, really, especially Adelaide's. We were just talking off air. In fact, Luke said that it plays a massive part in the whole proceedings to the end of time. So it's obviously we've got 5 tiers here: excellent, very good, good, okay, and bad. We're gonna reach a general consensus of what we feel. If we agree with something, great. If we don't agree with something, equally great. Opinions are there to be, opinions are there to be mixed, and that's fine. So, first and foremost, as well, before we do get straight into it, if you are new to the channel, please feel free to hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell on, and also like and share with your friends and everything. And if you have any disagreements or agreements with us, comment down below in the comments section, because it's there to be used. Let's hear your thoughts, and in the next, say, couple of weeks, we will be doing a classic Who version of companion departures, so that might be a bit longer, but bear with us on that one. So, yeah, let's get straight into it. So,
60 years.
I suppose we ought to get into this first one. So, obviously, with Rose's departure, it's safe to say it's sad, it's heartbreaking. She'd spent, it's a weird one with her because we'd seen, as much as you could say she was really good with 9 and 10, I mean, she was really good with 9, it was like as if she went to that next stage of the friendship with 10, I find. I don't know if anyone else feels like that in general.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're dating. Like, in series 2, it's a bunch, like, yeah.
Yeah, it might not have been explicitly said, but yeah, they were together.
Yeah. Because, in Journey's End, like, when whatever Meta Crisis Doctor says is what the Doctor was going to say on the beach originally, and that makes sense. So it's very clear. But I was going to say, it's a bit maybe a hot take. I would put her exit down to only okay, because I have a weird sort of relationship when it comes to Rose exits, in that her exit in Doomsday was my first full episode of Doctor Who. Now, admittedly, I do think that that's really, really good, and is what kind of got me hooked on the show and everything. But her series 4 exit, I don't know. I'd put that on the other end of just being bad.
That's exactly what I was going to say earlier. And I'm pretty sure Billie Piper said something similar.
Yeah.
Her exit in season 2 was brilliant, but then in season 4, she, I don't know, it felt like she was just getting a bit like of a consolation prize. She finally gets to meet the Doctor again. She comes all this way across these parallel universes to meet him again, and then she basically just gets shipped back to this different universe, given this this half what's got this half human, half Time Lord Doctor, and is basically just told, "Here you go."
That's the one thing I do not quite get about Journey's End in general, is that they allowed Mickey to go back to the normal Earth, like our Earth, if that's the correct terminology. But yet, for Rose and Jackie, they have to go back to the parallel Earth for some bizarre reason.
He's done with her.
and they use the excuse of how he's too dangerous because he committed genocide. But then it makes me think to myself, so you're going to leave him for this other universe?
Yeah. Okay, about this universe. Blow it up.
I thought that other universe had got destroyed, hence why Rose, Jackie and Mickey had all basically come over to our universe again in the first place. So
Exactly.
to me, it doesn't make sense, but
it's a bit...
Sorry, can I just quickly finish, Raven, before I let you? I do feel, had Rose's departure just been done in Doomsday and that's it, I would have got it, would have understood it. But yes, I get the fact she was a bit of a... Yes, there's no denying it. Martha was a rebound for the Doctor after Rose. In fact, more so of a rebound than Donna was. Let's be quite blunt about it. But at the same time, I think had Rose not featured in Series 4, it would have closed her story arc nicely without any real issues. And she would have almost had to have moved on. As heartbreaking as it is, she has to move on without the Doctor, and unfortunately we saw glimpses of it in Series 2. In fact, School Reunion is a prime example where the Doctor said, look, you can spend all of your life with me, but I can't spend all of my life with you.
Yeah.
And it's that realisation of, yes, she might have seen the Ninth Doctor regenerate, yes, he can change his face every 5 minutes if he wanted to, but ultimately Rose can't do that. And that in itself, unless Rose became a Time Lord out of nowhere, she's never going to be able to live like him and live with him forever, like he would like to live with her forever in that sense. It's a weird one, but
it's like we talked about this in the on the Twitter group chat the other day. We were actually speaking about Rose's exit ourselves, and I said if her exit would have been a lot stronger if they hadn't done. I know obviously they were to find a new way to get rid of Donna, but if they hadn't done the whole meta crisis Doctor thing, and the episode had ended with the Doctor saying to Rose, "You could come with me. You're here now. You could, if you wanted to, you could come with me." And Rose could have, it maybe would have been a better ending for her if she had turned around and said no. She's had several years away from the Doctor after the events of Doomsday. At that point, maybe she's moved on. She's missed him, but she's now come to realise that she has her own things that she could do by staying, whether it be on her Earth or coming back to her original home. It would have been a more impactful ending if she moved on from the Doctor, if she actually said no to going with him, deciding to stay on this parallel Earth and protect that, to be the protector of that Earth. I think it would have been a more impactful ending for Rose rather than just giving her a consolation prize with a Doctor that will age, saying, here you go, you can make him better like you made me. Goodbye.
Yeah, I understand that. I think that's the thing as well. I can't remember I can't remember entirely, but I think the Doctor offers Sarah Jane the chance to come back and travel in the TARDIS, and Sarah Jane at the end of School Reunion goes, look,
exactly,
I can't,
and it would,
I don't want to almost, and that in itself, you could argue that perhaps sets up the spin-off for the Sarah Jane Adventures, which in itself is great. But it's nice that after, I want to say 20 odd years, 25 years, after leaving the TARDIS 25 years earlier, she comes back and she actually turns down the Doctor. That in itself has got to be seen as a good thing, because it shows that you've learned, you've progressed, etc. I don't know. It could just be maybe.
And that in fact would have been a it would have been a really nice full circle moment for Rose, because in that episode in School Reunion, she's asking Sarah Jane for advice. She's saying, should I stay with him now that she knows that eventually the Doctor will have to leave her? And it would have been a nice thing if Rose kind of follows Sarah Jane's example and realises that there is there's more I can do than just traveling with the Doctor, and she turns him down. It would have been a nice full circle where Rose kind of follows in Sarah Jane's footsteps and does her own thing.
Yeah. So, Mateo, Raven, have you folks got any last thoughts before we decide where to put Rose on the tier at all?
I think we pretty much covered everything, unless Raven has something to say.
Oh, so I already said, like, I just thought okay, and yeah, that
Yeah.
how you brought up Mateo, that like there's no reason for Rose to have been put on the parallel Earth. So
Mm.
So, are we all in firm agreement then for Rose to be put in okay? Is that fine with everyone?
I'd personally at least put her in good, but that's just me.
Mateo,
'Cause-
Raven, is that fine for us to
yeah, that's
put her in
okay.
good?
Yeah, fine.
Yeah,
Fine, yeah.
Okay, so the
'Cause-
first one, Rose goes into good, I suppose.
Yeah, because opinion on her departure in season 4 aside, her departure in season 2 was it was brilliant.
It was unique, I think, as well.
Mm.
That's the most important thing. Like, we'd never seen it done before. Yet, I think the closest thing we had seen to it done before was Romana with E-Space. But that was, say, 20, 30 years earlier.
Or even Sarah Jane when the Doctor has to drop her off because she can't come to Gallifrey.
Yeah, even. So, I do apologise for that voice break for just a brief second there. Up next is Adam Mitchell, played by Bruno. Barely lasted one full episode as a companion, leaving in the long game after the events of Dalek in 2005. Since leaving Doctor Who, he's gone on to do Coronation Street, and even then, he's even been replaced for that role. So, yeah, Mateo is probably thinking, what on earth is Coronation Street? Think of it as a bit like Dallas, but only a bit more northern, I think is the correct terminology.
It's a bit it's a bit like The Young and the Restless.
Okay, yeah. My grandma watches that.
Yeah, that's fine. So, obviously, Adam was made by Russell T Davies on the idea of being such a thing as there can be a bad companion. But how would you folks necessarily judge his departure, so to speak? Because obviously it's not him deciding to go, it's the Doctor deciding he has to go. So I'm interested to get what your thoughts are on it.
It is amazing.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
It's
amazing.
Probably,
funny.
yeah. This is one of the best departures in the entire show, in my opinion.
Exactly.
Personally.
It might not be one of the emotional departures, but it's one of those ones that's it's hilarious. He gets dropped back off at Earth. With this machine in his forehead. He's told by the Doctor, deal with it, and then within minutes of the Doctor and Rose leaving him, his mum's snapping her fingers, and you just hear his forehead open, and it's brilliant.
I think what makes that scene even better is the face she gives after snapping her fingers, and it's like, what?
And it's off screen. It's off screen.
Oh, it's just, and you don't quite know what happens, like after. Like, yes, I know I've actually gone on to TARDIS Wiki, and it turns out
I've read that comic.
It turns out
he turned evil.
Yeah, I was going to say in the comics he goes evil. Sorry, spoiler alert here for anyone who hasn't read the comics. But apparently he goes evil and he holds a lot of resentment towards the Doctor and Rose as he grows older. To the point I think he ends up trying to unite with the Master, if I'm not mistaken.
Missed opportunity on screen, I say.
Oh yeah,
it's so wild. That should have been the 60th, honestly.
I would genuinely say, you know what, let's bring Bruno Langley back now. But given what's gone on since, and given that his off-screen behaviour in Coronation Street wasn't perhaps the best, let's just leave him to the comics, I suppose. And in fairness, the comics did a good job of showing that Adam had a bit of a redemption arc, but not much of a redemption arc. So, Raven, any comments you want to give on Adam at all?
I'm actually surprised that people rank so highly. I mean, it's funny, and like I think that actually the funniest part is that he just becomes like this lame villain in the long run in the comics, in like an obscure bit of like Doctor Who spin-off sort of material and stuff. I think that's a future befitting of Adam's legacy. So yeah, maybe it is better. I just feel bad putting it higher than Rose.
Yeah.
Look, if Rose didn't come back in series 4, okay? If she
Yeah,
didn't come
Rose-
back,
True.
It's one thing
Or
for
at
Adam
least-
to have come back in the comics, but it's another thing for him to come back in the TV show, and I think that's what does him so beautifully.
I'm pretty sure it was a free comic book day comic too, if I remember correctly.
Oh, even better stuff. Just giving it away for free. It's not even worth money for Adam. Yeah.
Exactly. It's just it's just it's it might not be an emotional exit. It might not have been a big moment, but it's just one of those exits where he's literally just kicked off the TARDIS with a machine in his forehead, told "see ya," and that's it. And it's hilarious. It's funny.
So,
I also can't. I also sorry. I also can't imagine any other Doctor other than Nine doing that.
Exactly. It's perfect on brand. But it's also the fact that Rose, who was so, adamant about the Doctor bringing him along, she goes on with it. She's teasing him about the implant in his head. She's snapping her fingers as well. It's the fact that the both of them are basically just bullying him off the TARDIS.
It's so funny.
so I feel as if we've had this fantastic discussion. Where do we put Adam then? Because the general consensus is it too much to put him in excellent? But ultimately, is it too much to even put him in very good, it seems? So, where do we feel Mr. Mitchell should go?
He deserves a tier of his own. Just saying, hilarious.
Yeah, it snapped here. I'd say very good though. I'd place him very good.
Yeah, either good or very good.
Yeah.
Definitely behind Rose.
So, I feel as if it's worth us putting it in very good then, because I think
Oh, blimey.
I don't feel as if it's excellent quality, but it's still, in my opinion, it's a lot better than Rose's departure. But it's because it's juxtapositioning emotions given, for, when compared to both of them. So
The Rose fan will be after us.
oh yeah,
We're going for spicy.
so we've got this next one, Jack, who has
Ooh.
near enough 4 or 5 departures.
A lot.
The first one being Passing of the Ways when he gets left on the game station. He then has obviously Last of the Time Lords where we find out he is the face of Bo. Spoiler alert to anyone who hasn't watched it. We obviously have Journey's End where he runs off out the TARDIS. We then obviously have Fugitive of the Jadoon. And then Revolution of the Daleks, where he goes off to try and find Gwen and potentially reunite the Torchwood team. Well, the remaining members of it. So we've got about 5 different departures, but it's entirely up to you folks how you want to rank Jack. Where do you feel, where do you feel he's, worthy of going, really, in that sense? So,
I mean, I'd personally put him in excellent just for the face of Bo reveal alone.
That made me lose my shit. I
Yeah,
lost it.
exactly. I could not believe it. I mean, I was probably 7 or 8 when season 3 came out, and I just could not believe it when he said that. Like it was. It's one of those it's an out of there reveal you just would never expect it, and then he drops that bomb on you, and I just remember thinking, Jesus Christ.
I must admit, I've got a bit of a head canon in my mind, and I don't know how anyone is going to feel about this. But I do feel a little bit that Jack gets the way he does by being the face of Bo by the headless monks, and they just.
That's not a
Oh
headcanon.
yeah.
I don't know.
That's not a head. that was going to be a thing. He was Stephen Moffat apparently wanted him to appear in A Good Man Goes to War. I think he wasn't able to because he was filming Arrow or something. But
Yeah, I think it was either Arrow or Children of Earth.
Yeah, and the idea.
Obviously, it'd be quite traumatic to see a person we've grown up watching as a companion just have his head chopped off, and to an extent, that's what kind of makes DeLorean Mandevars like head cutting a bit easier, because we didn't necessarily know the guy that much. So when his head does get cut off, it's a bit easier without sounding nasty.
But no, but that was the plan. The Doctor was going to recruit Jack to help, rescue Amy and her baby, and then it would have ended with the headless monks lopping Jack's head off. But because of his immortality, his head survives. And then whether or not the Doctor would have put him in that, a crypt of skull, or if he would have, put him in a miniature version of the face of Bo's life support system, whatever you call it. I don't know, but that's not just a headcanon. That was the original. That was originally what Stephen Moffat had planned for the character.
Oh, blimey, that's news to me.
Yeah,
it sounds great. Not great that his head gets cut off, obviously, but there goes the YouTube monetization. Now we've been talking about heads being cut off, but apologies there. Raven,
game's a game.
Any thoughts and opinions on Jack's departures over the years?
I mean, bad joke for headcanon incoming, but sorry. I'll just say for the intent for him to be the face Bo in terms of getting his head cut off. The only reason why I've never liked that is that in Torchwood we've seen him grow back from being blown up. So I'm like, if he got his head cut off, I mean, either the head would grow from the body or the body should grow from the head. But I mean, I like all of Jack's exits except for Revolution of the Daleks, which I guess sort of makes sense in that it wasn't originally planned as his final entry in. I even like his exits in Torchwood as well. With at the end of Children of Earth when he leaves. But as a companion, I tend to just think of him leaving in Parting of the Ways, and then he just shows up as a guest. After that, he's not really a companion at that point. And I love his end in Parting of the Ways, so I would put it top tier for me.
So
I always felt like his exit in Revolution of the Daleks for me always felt like a disappointment, because it felt more. I don't know if it's true about it, but it felt like a consequence of COVID in a way. Like one moment he's there, and then suddenly he's just leaving a voicemail saying goodbye. It felt like maybe COVID or something had stopped them from being able to get him back to film that final scene, so they just got him to record a voice message.
Yeah, I get that feeling. I must admit, there's always been a little bit of me that's almost felt a bit of, I don't want to say anger, because I think given how well, obviously, the events of Parting of the Ways work into the Christmas invasion, but I always felt sorry for Jack, knowing he gets resurrected from the dead after being killed by a Dalek. And he then wakes up and just as he's walking back into the main lobby after seeing all of these Daleks turn to dust, he sees the TARDIS dematerialise in a way, and he's just left there. Yes, he's got a vortex manipulator. Yes, he can jump back in time to Earth in whatever year he wants. But it just felt a bit kind of, I don't want to say stupid, but I almost felt a bit sorry, knowing that we'd spent the last couple of episodes getting to know Jack as a companion, as a character, and he just gets left behind whilst the Doctor and Rose go off in the TARDIS back to Earth. It just seems a bit ridiculous, but I feel as if we ought to conclude things with Jack. But where do we think he deserves to go? Because obviously we've mentioned very highly about the Face of Bo stuff, Parting of the Way stuff we've also mentioned, so it's entirely up to you folks where we do put him, really, in that sense of it all.
I'd personally say
probably. I was going to say that too. Very good. Right next to Adam.
Yeah.
Very good or excellent, maybe.
So,
I'd put him before Adam.
yeah, that's fine. So we are going to put him in very good, but before Adam. So that in itself is good. I suppose this next one's a bit of an easier one because he only had 2, 3 leaving departures, unlike Jack. Mickey Smith. So obviously his first departure is at the end of the events of the Age of Steel, where he doesn't want to be the tin dog anymore. He wants to actually make a change. And I think to an extent he had grown over the previous 3, 4 episodes in particular, being a part of the TARDIS. Though obviously he was never going to be, he was never going to be Rose's, first love, because the Doctor obviously, took that right off him. But then we obviously see him come back in Stolen Earth, Journey's End. He then comes back to stay on the Earth because his gran that he had stayed, I believe that was part of the reason why he wanted to stay on the parallel Earth, is because he had his gran there. So obviously, but I then recall he mentioned that something like she died or something, so he didn't have anything left to look. He didn't have anything there for him anymore. So it kind of made sense for him to come back to our universe and do whatever. And then roll forward to the end of time. He's married to Martha. Mind you, I think that kind of
Weird twist.
But yeah, I don't think any of us saw it coming, Mickey and Martha. But hey ho.
Mickey for me is personally, I'll be honest, is one of my favourite companions. Simply because of his character development. When we first meet him in Rose, he's such a wimp. He. I mean, I understand why. It would be very scary for anyone to be abducted by aliens like that. But for the entirety of series 1, sorry. Whilst I can understand to a degree, there were times to me where he just felt like he felt like a bit whiny, like constantly complaining about Rose and leaving and stuff. Which again, I understood why to a degree, but it's the way I felt. But I love the way his character went from series 2 onwards. We see him go from this not shy but timid, guy to this confident fighter, who suddenly comes in and is the one saving the day. He's fighting against the Cybermen, he's fighting against the Daleks. His character progresses so much through series 1 and 2, and that's one of the reasons why I personally love his character. And I mean, if we're talking about like how you said with Jack, how his main exit is from series 1 and afterwards it's guest appearances, I'd personally say Mickey's main exit is in Age of Steel, and then after that, it's guest appearances.
Yeah.
And so for that reason, I'd personally say his exit is very good because it's he's a very noble reason. He's not leaving his own universe because he has to, because he's trapped like Rose. He chooses to leave because he's in this universe. His nan is alive, but now she's lost her version of Mickey.
Yeah.
She's lost Mickey. So the fact that he chooses to stay so he can look after his nan, it's a very noble reason to give up essentially your whole life to live in a universe.
I think that's what, I know there was a bit of subtext that I think there was a deleted scene that they cut for various reasons, where Mickey's equivalent Ricky was actually boyfriend to Jake.
Yeah,
and
yeah, that was.
Understand there was that. I think there was a deleted scene, but they cut it for censorship reasons, or because of the BBC.
Yeah.
BBC, I imagine. But ultimately, I almost still think that in itself, it's a bit like my personal headcanon. I still think that was the case. That's not an issue. Far from it. Quite the opposite, actually. But it's that case of, in that deleted scene, Mickey goes, "Look, I'm not Ricky. Yes, I look like him, but I'm not your boyfriend." I just I want to get on saving the world basically, and I admire that, and I think he accepts, especially by the time we get to the Christmas invasion. I think he works better with 10 than what he does with 9. Even though after, and I don't know if anyone has remembered this. This is probably me being me, but I remember at the end of World War Three, the Ninth Doctor invites him into the TARDIS, and he then makes it out like as if the Doctor said, "Oh, you know what? Oh, I declined him joining us or whatever." When in fact it was actually Mickey not wanting to know more about the universe, and I actually thought, okay. But then roll forward a year, we see him join the TARDIS because Sarah Jane says, "Look, the TARDIS needs another Smith." It happens,
and he doesn't want to be. He doesn't just want to be the technical support. He actually wants to. He wants to do more. He doesn't want to be the tin dog.
And that in itself is part of the reason why, when we do get to his departure in the Age of Steel, not just that, but it's a very gritty story. In fact, I'd say it's perhaps a lot more grittier than a lot of the stories are in Series 2. So, after fighting the Cybermen, after seeing the parallel universe Jackie get upgraded, seeing his counterpart get deleted, it's not been a nice journey, but ultimately it's been one that he's been able to say, look, I've lived to tell the tale, whether I've liked it or not, I now want to save the universe, and that in itself is quite unique. So I feel as if we need to perhaps get a little bit onwards, but I feel Mickey with his departure, I get the feeling very good is the way to go for him. Is that correct with you folks, or do you feel a bit lesser for him, or what? It's entirely up to you folks.
Or you can say, Mateo. Sorry.
You go first.
I'm trying not to be a hypocrite after I said that I see Jack's exit in part in other ways, because I'm like, yeah, when like Luke said, from that perspective, I should just see his exit in Age of Steel, and then ignore, end of time for impaired with Martha for no reason.
I hated him being put with Martha.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. But
it felt like.
What were you going to say? Sorry.
I was going to say it felt like Russell did it for the sake of or what can we do with these two? The Doctor's going on his farewell tour. What can we do with Martha and Mickey? We've done everyone else. We just need to find out an ending for Martha and Mickey. Well, let's put them together.
Yeah, exactly. Though I've got to stand for Age of Steel, a stanner bisexual Mickey of clearly being paired up with like that, and as well like him actually just moving on from Rose. It's like the Doctor comes in and just completely just cooks it throughout. Like, it's a consistent Doctor theme across New Who, but he'll do it to Rory later. But yeah, I actually do agree. Yeah, you've convinced me that it's a better exit than I thought it was.
It's always been an interesting, completely diverging, but from what you just said about how the Doctor comes in and just completely messes up their relationship, it's always been an interesting argument to me, because on the one hand, obviously, Rose wasn't exactly, she definitely wasn't nice for just ditching Mickey like that. There was definitely a nicer way she could have done it, but was she? I don't know. I personally wouldn't say she was in the wrong for separate for leaving Mickey to go with the Doctor, because should she just settle for less? No offense to Mickey.
I mean, true, but she didn't have to do him so dirty in terms of when she says thank you at the end of Rose, and he's like, for what? And then she goes, exactly.
Yeah, there's definitely
and runs off. I'm like, that's doing him dirty. Like, okay.
Dirty.
Exactly. As I said, there's definitely better ways she could have done it, but I don't blame her in a way, because she clearly wasn't necessarily happy with Mickey, or at the very least, as she says in Parting of the Ways, the Doctor showed her a better life, so I don't blame her for wanting to go off with the Doctor. She saw an opportunity.
fully agree
Yeah,
with
yeah.
those points. So to conclude, Mickey Smith, are we feeling very agree, or are we feeling good, or are we even feeling excellent with him?
I'd personally be very, very good.
Yeah, very good.
Raven, agree with very good.
Yeah. I've been convinced that it's very good.
Right.
Better than Adam or not?
Yeah, I'd say better than Adam.
No
A little
way.
bit, yeah.
So
Adam is very good, but I have a feeling he will be at the end of the very good list.
Yeah, me too.
So I feel as if we need to. Looking at the time, I'm a bit weird, but I want to go into. I say as much brief as briefly as we could with this next view, but at the same time, obviously giving our reasons and everything. Obviously, this next one, we're going to be seeing her for the 60th anniversary specials. Donna Noble, ladies and gentlemen. How do we necessarily feel about hers? So I'm just going to quickly go first.
Excellent.
And
That's it.
say I feel as if she got the raw end of the deal out of all of the companions in the new Who series.
She did.
At the same time, I'm interested to know what else did you folks think about her time, like in general with her departure and the fact that she had the brain wiped, which didn't really make a lot of sense come the end of time when she almost needed that brain wiping to not be the case.
Yeah. I mean, I personally would put her up at excellent. As you said, she got the war end of the stick, but the whole scene itself is just done brilliantly. You know, and like I said with Rose, you know, Murray Gold's music, Catherine Tate's performance, and David Tennant's, it's such a tragically done scene that it's personally for me one of the most emotional companion exits, and for that reason alone, she deserves to be up in excellent. It might not have been a happy ending, but it was still an excellent exit.
Mateo?
I mean, honestly, yeah, there's not that much more to say. Donna is just her exit's peak. Excellent.
Exactly.
And Raven, anything you want
Yeah.
to say?
Same, absolutely perfect ending. I mean, it could drop lower given the 60th, but for now, excellent.
Yeah,
Perfect,
it just depends on what Russell does. Although
Yeah.
I know a lot of people have been saying they personally hope, the Doctor finds a way to reverse the mind wipe and have her continue to live, because I know not everyone was necessarily happy with it.
I hope not. I feel like it undermines it, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
We have to wait and see.
Yeah. So in that case,
Excellent.
Noble becomes our first excellent.
Let's go.
If anyone's editing this, someone please put a clip of the cyber leader going excellent. I can make it if you want. I don't know why that's an 80s thing, but yeah. Martha Jones, ladies and gentlemen. People have often said Martha Jones was a bit of a rebound companion after obviously losing Rose. She leaves at the end of Last of the Time Lords after the Doctor having witnessed the death of the Master. Again, spoiler alert, apologies for anyone who is watching. I keep doing that. But ultimately, she then returns no more than half a season later, using the phone, ringing the Doctor with the phone he gave her. Mind you, it's a bit of an outdated phone. It was a flip-up one. That's aged quite badly ever since. And then she then comes back for the end of Series 4. And she does actually make a very valid point to Donna, saying, look, if you stand too close to the Doctor, you will get burned. She does mention that at the end of the Doctor's daughter. But ultimately, Last of the Time Lords, how do we feel her departure is and isn't really? Like, where do we feel she should go in the tier list of things?
Also excellent.
Yeah, excellent.
Raven?
I don't know, but I mean, Luke, Luke and Mateo, what are your reasons for excellent?
For me, it's what we were saying earlier about how like some companions had a great exit, but then their return kind of lets them down, like Rose. And like I was saying, like there's a chance the same could be for Donna. Martha, for me, is the only returning companion who had an excellent exit, but then her returns, both of them, improved upon that exit. You know,
Yeah.
her returning the Doctor's daughter. You know, she joins them on. Well, she's forced to join them on this adventure, and then at the end of it, she stays true to her beliefs, and says, I can't come back with you. And I've got a life now. I've got something that that I have to do. And then we see her again in the series 4 finale, and plays a very central role in that. And then again at the end when she leaves, it's the same thing. The Doctor doesn't hesitate to ask her if she wants to come back because he knows the answer. She just says goodbye to the Doctor. She's one of the rare companions that has an happy ending. So for that alone, I personally would put her at excellent.
I mean, yeah, same. We just gotta just ignore the Mickey stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Ignore the Mickey stuff. She's excellent.
Ignore the Mickey marriage. I completely forgot about that.
It's not canon. It's not canon.
The
It's not
Mickey
canon.
marriage.
I refuse.
There was a gas
You
stick.
could just have it headcanon that they've divorced now or something. That could just be
Yes.
implemented.
It was they were undercover. They were undercover and married. That was their cover.
Yeah. It was just a job.
So,
Double divorce.
Raven, what's your feeling? What's not your feeling on it, really?
I'll go with excellent for the group. I'm too biased against series 3 because it's like my least favorite series of New Who. I know I see it being paid, so I'll go with excellent. Otherwise, I'll drag it down.
Excellent. We can chuck it in at very good, as in above Jack.
I'm fine with that as well.
I'm too biased.
Yeah, I can go with very good. At least above. At the top of very.
It's at the top of very good. It's not obviously Donna level of leaving, but it's perhaps, in my opinion, the best it could have been, really, given everything that goes on in series 3.
Yeah.
Obviously, alright.
No.
So,
Then
River Song, ladies and gentlemen.
A very unique one.
Oh god, she's had more departures than I've had hot dinners.
I was about to say she's the only returning companion whose exit was in her first episode.
Well, you've got a few. You've got the Silence in the Library stuff. You've got.
I mean, that was her final exit. That was the end of her time with the Doctor. As far as her timeline goes.
It's not Name of the Doctor.
Name of the Doctor. Yeah.
Yeah, so you've got obviously Name of the Doctor. You've even got the Husbands of River Song. You've got the Wedding of River Song. You've got a lot of exits because the Doctor and River's timeline is so weird. So
I think we should try and simplify it for River. Personally,
yeah.
I think we should go with husbands, Silence in the Library, and Name the Doctor.
I still base it on the Husbands of River Song with the whole Night in Darin stuff, and I think that was a beautiful way to end the whole era, personally, and it comes full circle knowing that he gives her own sonic screwdriver that we had seen 5-6 years earlier, maybe even more than that.
Yeah, I mean, I personally, I'll be honest, I completely forgot about her in Name of the Doctor, but I personally would put her in excellent because, and it's a very rare instance because obviously her exit in Silence of the Library, it was brilliant when you first watched the episode, not knowing who she was, and then it's going back and rewatching those episodes after you've seen her story, after you've especially if you watch it immediately after watching Husbands of River Song, it just improves her character's death in Forest of the Dead. That moment where she's hooking herself up to the machine, she's telling the Doctor all about her time with him in the future. It just, once you've seen their stories with 11 and 12, it's like it caps it off brilliantly.
I fully agree. To me personally, it's the whole story of River Song in general for a companion, if you want to call it that, or a lover of the Doctor. It was the the most beautiful thing Stephen Moffat has ever done in Doctor Who, because he was able to string it along over a number of years, but it was still fluid. It was still... The only thing I'm not the biggest fan of with River Song is the fact that she's Amy and Rory's kid. That's the only thing I'm not the biggest fan of. But aside from that, it's a beautiful way how they were still able to do the Doctor, Amy and Rory stories, but every now and again they would bring up River out of nowhere, but it didn't necessarily feel forced, so to speak. It made sense for, for continuity's sake, or for the sake of, we knew we eventually had to get there where the Doctor does give her the diary, the sonic screwdriver, things like that. We do realise we had to get to that point sooner than later. And I think under Stephen Moffat, obviously having started it under RTD, he then finishes it under his own reign. It makes total sense. It's logical. Yeah, I have no real issues with it. And in fairness, I actually do agree with the whole idea of putting her in excellent, because by the time we do get to Husbands of River Song and she gives that speech about loving the Doctor, it's so beautiful, and it's almost quite heartbreaking knowing that, yes, they spend 24 years together on Beryllium, but the Doctor knows after that she's gone forever, and that in itself is heartbreaking. So, Mateo, Raven, I don't know if you folks want to jump in with anything else at all.
Mateo, you otherwise I'll end up sort of going off.
You go.
It's my favourite exit of the ones that we've said so far. Big 11th Doctor and Riverstan and everything. Like, yeah, I think one thing that really works well for it is it's probably the most unique companion exit due to how the story's told.
Yeah.
As the episodes go on, and because you already know the ending at the start, like everything's like a further nail in the coffin as it happens. So, which I think is at the end of Let's Kill Hitler that he gives her the diary, and then obviously throughout the course of Series 6, the Doctor ages like 200 years. So you see 11 in Impossible Astronaut, the younger version of him, doesn't know half of the stuff that they're going to do together as he does by the end. And it's perfect. So I would put it right near the top.
Yeah, I'm the same. I especially enjoyed her chemistry with Capaldi and what's it called? My brain's Husband's River Song. That whole episode, especially when we got to the end, I was emotional. I was sobbing.
I mean, I'm of the unpopular opinion that I don't know if it's unpopular. I've mostly, whenever I've seen people talk about who she's best with, they've said Capaldi. But I've always personally felt like River's best chemistry was with 11. Maybe it's because we saw them together more than we did any other Doctor. But I don't know. I just always liked the way those two like bounced off each other in a way, like they had like brilliant chemistry. Like they molded perfectly together.
Yeah.
You see the evolution of her character a lot more with 11. Like, you see her go from young woman just infatuated with the Doctor, and then by the time she gets to be with 12, it's the seasoned, we've been married a long time, and older version of River.
I agree.
Like, I've just whenever I picture the Doctor and River, it's always 11 and River, not 12 and River. Like, I know people always bring up saying that she's 12 is the Doctor that she imagined, because when she talks about the last time she saw the Doctor when in Forest of the Dead, she's obviously, we now know she was talking about 12, but I've always viewed her relationship more of it like as 11 and River, not 12 and River, because simply because we saw them together more than we did any other Doctor.
So, by that rhetoric, by that theory, I suppose, River Song goes in excellent, would we agree?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Maybe, what do you guys think about before Donna, though?
I'd say before Donna, yeah.
Yeah, so before... So sorry, what, there instead?
Yeah, right there. Right up top.
Okay, that's still a bloody good company. So these next few, I suppose, let's speed through them a little bit because obviously we've got the next 4 who were all companions for one episode, and then obviously we then go into a few. So yeah, I suppose let's base it that we'll do Astrid, Jackson, Christina, Adelaide, and then go into Craig, Paternoster gang, and then obviously to the last few core ones in that sense. So if it's all right, without sounding nasty, if we can be a bit like quicker with these
let's
next
do them.
few. So Astrid, she features in Voyage of the Dam. She gives her life to the Doctor in defeating Max Capricorn. How do we think? She's up against very tough opposition in Excellent, but
I'd say I'd personally,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah, I'd say okay. She's fine.
It was
She's
fun.
there.
It was a bit cheesy, the whole she becomes space dust, she gets to fly through the universe. It was a bit cheesy, but it was a fun casting. It was fun to see the Doctor with the Princess of Pop, Queen of Pop, whatever she's referred to as.
That's understandable. So Jackson Lake features in the next Doctor, another Christmas special. Originally thinks he's the Doctor, only it turns out he'd been reading an info stamp, and partly because he'd been dealing with PTSD. So where do we feel for him? Mind you, we don't necessarily see a departure because he ends up spending Christmas with the Doctor in Victorian London. So it's entirely up to you, folks.
I mean, this might be an unpopular one. I'm actually going to put him in very good.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
Simply
I'm fine with that.
because I actually love his character. He's one of my favourite Doctor Who characters simply because of the whole premise. This human who was tricked into thinking he's the Doctor. And it's just the story he goes through. Rediscovering who he really is, finding out that the Cybermen took his son away, and then also being one of the only people, as the Doctor says, to being one of the only people to change the Doctor's mind. So he just had it was such a sweet ending in a way. It wasn't like a big moment where like Martha choosing to leave or Donna losing a memory. Jackson, he had a happy ending. He got his kid back. He got his life back and got to have Christmas dinner with the Doctor.
The saddest part of it is that yes, he loses his wife to the Cybermen, but you almost get that feeling that him and Rosita are almost not going to be together as husband and wife, but you can tell that they're going to be
Family.
Yeah, they are family in a way, almost a bit like as if she's almost his daughter, almost in that kind of fit. I don't want to say daughter, but
best friend. Like it's like a platonic relationship.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I was thinking they aren't ever going to be husband and wife, but they're going to be at the very least very good friends, almost to the line of the Doctor and River Song, almost you could argue, perhaps. I don't know. So
I'd put it more like Doctor and Donna.
Yeah, that's probably a better combination. So Raven, Mateo, whereabouts do you folks think Jackson should go?
Mateo?
I'd say good, probably. Good, very good. Either one, honestly.
Raven?
I don't have that strong of opinion on him.
I'll go with Luke for very good, just for the spiciness of the take. I've never seen someone put that as very good, so
it's a very spicy take.
It's also a unique one because, again, like the Doctor said, I agree with the Doctor on this. He's one of those characters, or at least actors, where I remember watching it for the first time thinking, God, I wish he actually was the next Doctor. Because in the parts where he thought he was the Doctor, he was brilliant as the Doctor. And that's because David Morrissey is a brilliant actor.
I was just going to echo those comments. David Morrissey, if you are ever watching this, I doubt you are, please note you are very highly valued by Doctor Who fans because the performance you put on as Jackson Lake, or the Doctor if you only watched the first 5 minutes of it, you were fantastic in it, and thank you, I think, really. Even if you did have a TARDIS that was a hot air balloon, it's still better than some of the stuff we've seen over the years, so thank you. So I feel as if, thank you for the discussion. Jackson Lake goes in very good. Do we want to say before Mickey, after Mickey, before Adam, after
No.
Adam?
Before Adam, after Mickey.
Yeah, that's fine. No worries.
Yeah.
So, next two, we're going to hopefully speed through a bit faster. Lady Christina D'Souza leaves at the end of Planet of the Dead riding a London bus that flies.
Bad.
No,
Yeah.
it's good. It's goofy. I like it. It's good. It's goofy. It's goofy. I like it. It's good.
At the very least, maybe okay. It's a
I'll
similar.
settle for okay. I will settle for okay.
It's similar to Astrid, it's cheesy, the Doctor frees her so she gets away from police, flies off in the bus. It's just a bit, and then she gets her own Big Finish audio. It's just a bit.
So goofy. It's so goofy. I love it.
It's amazing how a person goes from being in EastEnders to Doctor Who and ends up getting a better ride doing Big Finish spin-offs after having done Doctor Who, despite being known most notably for EastEnders.
I mean, I'll always know her as her character in Cockneys and Zombies.
So, Lady Christina goes in with Astrid Peth in OK. Adelaide Brook, this one, she was very much the anti-hero, I get the feeling of. Very much the anti-hero. I wouldn't ever think she would call herself a companion or friend of the Doctor. It's just a case of, if anything, she puts up with the Doctor, I think is the correct terminology, just to survive, really. So
I think by the end of it, she hates him.
Yeah.
She despises him.
It's such a unique dynamic, I'd say she starts to like him. She starts to, at first she's very standoffish because he's a not necessarily a stowaway, but he's a stranger who suddenly appears on Mars. Then she starts to open up to him, tells him about her childhood, and then by the end of the episode, after seeing what he does, she comes to hate him, because he's just casually saying, I don't care, I do what I want.
So where do we feel Adelaide should go then in that case?
I'd say good after Rose.
Is that agreeable with both of you, Mateo and Raven?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
I agree. Yeah.
Because
Right.
unlike Astrid and Lady Christina, while she might be a one-off, the fact that she has such a impactful ending,
Yeah.
and it literally sets up the events of the next two episodes, or at the very least prompts the Doctor to go to what causes those, she deserves to be in good.
No worries. Thank you very much. So Adelaide goes in good. Craig Owens.
Excellent.
Played
Still.
by the excellent. I say by the I don't know why I'm calling him excellent.
Okay. Okay.
What we
By the James Corden.
Yeah, James
No.
Corden. God, I really don't know where to stand with Craig in general.
Put him above River. He's the best.
Quick
No.
question.
Best companion of all time. Best exit.
Yeah.
I cried. I sobbed.
Are you American?
Yes, I hate his guts. Take him
Yeah.
back, please. I'm begging you. Take him back.
If you're
I
being
don't want him
serious,
anymore.
I was gonna say, if you're being serious, you need to understand that most of the British despise this man.
Oh, most the Americans do too. Take him back. We are begging you.
Keep him.
We hate this man so much.
Well, because we drew with the Americans at the World Cup last year, the initial agreement was whoever loses keeps him, and because obviously we didn't lose, you Americans have to keep him for 5 more months.
Send him to America. And send him to Canada.
Yeah, send him to Canada.
Could work. So,
I'd say okay. He's just he was just playing himself.
Yeah, I honestly maybe even bad.
Yeah, we're being too
Because
kind.
it's James Corden. It's
Getting
James
down
Corden.
there.
maybe bad.
can I please remind ourselves we have to split the character from the actor?
True.
I can't do it with him. I can't do it. I'm sorry. Look at that face.
So,
We've literally
is
ranked
okay good
John
enough?
Barrowman and Noel Clark, and yet we're
I'm
struggling
fine with okay.
with Gordon.
No, but for the atrocity that is closing time, get him in bad. I want him
So
gone.
bad. So bad.
The only redeeming thing about Closing Time is that it has that actress from Come Inside, or whatever the lady's name was.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my.
I've forgotten the lady's name, but she was a diamond of an actress, and she made my childhood with Come
Didn't she
Inside
just,
or whatever.
She
not to
passed
be morbid,
away.
didn't she recently
Yeah, she
pass on?
did. Yeah, quite recently
Let
she
me.
did. God bless her soul.
Uh,
I've forgotten the lady's name, but if there is an editor editing this, that she
was it
please put
Linda
her name
Barron?
in the photo.
Linda Barron.
Oh,
That's probably it. Yeah, but
That's it. I just looked it up.
she made my childhood, and she was perhaps the only good thing about that story. God bless her
Yeah,
soul. So
but
Craig goes in okay. Do we agree, or do we want to
uh,
put him in bad?
Bad.
he just separating him from James Corden. He's just he's just there.
He is just theirs.
He
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 exists.
he. A bit like how I said with Kylie Minogue, when we had him appear in The Lodger, it felt more like it was just for the sake of, oh, we've got James Corden in the show.
Because if I'm not mistaken, I think Gavin and Stacey at the time of 2010 when he featured, that was still going on, or it was still quite a bit of a popular hit. So that
Okay,
kind of makes sense.
yeah.
So Madame Vastra, where do we put her? Because it's a weird one with her, Jenny and Strax, because they feature it in Deep Breath, and then we just don't ever see them again. Really, it's a weird one.
I'd say okay for them because it's not. I mean, it's not really a departure, really. Like
Yeah.
It's not like a big thing. It's like it's treated like it was whenever we said goodbye to them at an episode. It was like might see you again, might not.
Right. So
Yeah.
I think I'm going to associate all three together because they were they were a trio. There's no denying it in that sense. So next up, Amy Pond. Where do we stand with her then?
Excellent,
yes.
Excellent. Yeah. Excellent.
Oh, I
easy.
thought I was going to have to fight for this. Yes.
No.
I don't think we really
I'm
need to
fine with you on
explain
that.
much with Amy
Her-
because it's a bit of a bittersweet ending in
Yeah,
many ways.
it's like Donna's. For me, Amy and Donna's exits are tied for the title of best because they are just so heartbreaking.
Hmm.
For reasons, but that whole moment in the cemetery where the Doctor is begging Amy not to get back into the TARDIS. Saying that we can try and find another way, but she's she's adamant. She's not going to, and it's such a nice character progression from the woman who, let's be honest, was a bit like with Rose with Mickey. Was a bit flippant about her relationship with Rory to the point where she made out with the Doctor. To all of a sudden, to across the seasons or series with her, she becomes this woman who, the moment Rory disappears, she's going to go with him. It doesn't, she's going to take that risk.
Yes.
Fully
Yes.
agree with you.
Everything you said
Oh yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Her
It's
arc is perfect.
yeah, exactly. It's the perfect ending for Amy. It finally, especially considering Rory was constantly doubting her love for him. I can't imagine probably the look on his face when she appeared.
Yeah.
Like
So,
he probably
at the same
probably
time with Amy, do we put Rory up with excellent as well?
I think
yeah,
so.
but for in my opinion
Mhm.
for a different episode I loved his exit in what was the second name of the second episode in the Silurian episode?
I wanna say
The
Cold Blood or-
Cold Blood.
that was it, Cold Blood. I loved his exit in Cold Blood.
Mm.
He's erased. It was it was just like the tension. Finally seeing what the cracks do.
I love Rory for such a different reason to other companions in that Rory's never there for the Doctor in terms of
Yeah.
why he travels. He's there
Mhm.
for Amy specifically.
And I love the fact that he's not afraid to call out the Doctor.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
Well,
so
he
good
does
and
a really good job
God,
of calling him out in The Girl Who Waited, for example. That in itself is proof of it, you could argue.
Yeah, and he's in a way he's like a better no offense to Mickey, but he's like a bet he he's a better version of Mickey in a way. Like he goes from being this, this shy, timid boyfriend, who, let's be honest, Amy wore the trousers in the relationship, to being this man who would literally wait 2,000 years for her just to keep her safe. He as like in The Girl Who Waited, he's willing to take older Amy with them because he loves her, not because he wants to have two Amys, but simply for the fact that he can't imagine leaving her behind because in his eyes, it's Amy.
Mm.
Yeah, he was in a way he was just such a good person.
Mm-hmm.
I fully agree with
I was gonna say too, like I love their sort of path exit in God Complex. I'm
Yeah.
the biggest God Complex fan on the planet. In that I kind of wish in some I love Angels Take Manhattan, but I kind of wish that was their exit.
Me too.
And I love that throughout that, Rory is able to just leave that because he is his own person, and he doesn't have faith in the Doctor. Rory sees the Doctor for who he is the whole time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say he hates the Doctor, but he it's just like he's not, as you said, he's not there because I want to travel with the Doctor. He's there in a way to make sure that Amy is all right because he knows just how dangerous traveling with the Doctor is.
Brilliant.
It's more just he's not enamored with him. He's
Yeah,
just
exactly.
the Doctor's this guy who does these things, and yeah, he loves him, but he's not in that platonic sort of family way. But he's
Yeah,
not.
exactly. He's not like
Mhm.
any of the other characters who's like, oh, I want to travel with the Doctor. He's more like, so you can travel through time and space. All right.
Yeah.
I want to spend time with my wife.
Exactly.
Yes.
So the next one.
He was probably just happy to get some free honeymoons.
Yeah.
The next one. It's a man we sadly miss. We will
No.
forever cherish, and hopefully he gets a fantastic send off in the 60th anniversary specials. It's our man Wilfred Mott, as played by the late great Sir Bernard Cribbins. Even though he was never knighted, I think I'm calling him Sir because he deserved it. He definitely deserved it. So
He deserves to be in excellent just for being Bernard Cribbins.
yeah, do we agree on that? Raven, agree?
Yeah, even
Yeah.
without him being Bernard Cribbins, I mean, he sells the end of time.
Yeah.
He's the heart and soul of that story.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is.
God bless his soul.
And that church, that wedding scene where he says goodbye to the Doctor.
Oh my god.
And Donna doesn't know, but he's breaking down.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just like that whole scene with the Doctor giving the lottery ticket, finally making Donna's life easier for her, and it's just such a beautiful scene between the Doctor and Wilf.
I can't disagree with any of that. Bernard Cribbins, may you forever rest in peace. It's weird to think we're approaching about nearly, I want to say about 6 months on, over 6 months since he sadly passed away. It's crazy
Yeah, it
to
must.
think where that time has gone. I think he passed away just after filming in the summer/autumn.
Oh no, not that long ago. He passed away just before. Oh yeah, no. Sorry, I'm looking at
I
the month he was.
passed away just before Power of the Doctor.
Yeah, no, he passed away just before August, 27th of July.
Yeah.
Because that was then followed by the Queen's funeral and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
It was a bit of a full-on hectic few weeks for us folks.
Yeah.
But rest in peace, Bernard. Fantastic guy. No two ways about it. So the next one, Clara Oswald, as played by Jenna Carter.
Okay, you all gonna hate me. You all gonna hate me. Excellent.
No.
I can't.
Excellent. Hear me out. Hear me out. Just hear me out. Okay, hear me out.
Go for it, Mateo.
Hellbent is a good exit.
No.
Heaven sent. Heaven sent. Face the Raven would have been better, but I haven't sent Hellbent. good character piece. Studies them as a character, as a duo, why they're toxic for each other, why they don't work together. Yes, it's kind of like a repeat with Donna or whatever, but it's kind of like turn around and said, "Look, I will defend Hellbent until I die in Heaven Sent. Hellbent.
I,
I'll defend
I'm
it to my dying breath."
I'm literally on the complete opposite end. If she didn't return for the 2-part finale, if her character stayed dead in Face the Raven, I would probably be putting her in maybe at least very good, maybe excellent. But it's the fact that they then brought her back to life, technically, in that finale, then literally gave her TARDIS. It's just, you know, that's what knocks it down to bad for me, because it just felt like such a cheap end for the character in a way.
Look, she's going back to Gallifrey
Well,
eventually,
yeah, she
one
probably had
day.
a cross behind her back when she said that.
She'll be back there. What? Look. I will settle for good.
No.
No,
Hey, I'd
we're on
settle.
opposite sides of the spectrum, and I'll settle for good. We do
Oh,
okay. You give me okay.
I'm going to give a bit of a controversial take here. I
Yeah.
don't necessarily rate her leaving in Hellbent, but I do rate her, if you want to call it departure of sorts, in Twice Upon a Time. Now, to
Oh,
this
that was
day,
amazing.
I cry watching that scene. It is, in fairness, I cry for like the final 10 minutes of that episode in general. It's that good. But every time I watch that clip where she goes, "Hello, Doctor. Oh, at last, all my memories are restored." I cry watching that scene every time. I'm 23 years old and I'm bawling out my eyes because the Doctor remembers that Clara Oswald exists. I almost feel a bit ashamed, but at the same time, it's just heartbreaking when you see that clip, knowing that the Doctor has now got all of his memories, and it's almost like the final person he sees before he goes to regenerate is Clara, who was the first face his face saw. It's quite beautiful, but I do almost take the idea that Clara should have left the season earlier than she did, on a personal level, but ultimately it was what it was. But
It, it it also, I mean, I know obviously season classic Doctor Who had companions leaving mid-season, but
Hmm.
it also would have been a unique way of doing it. The idea of, this character who's been the main companion for what, 2.5 seasons at this point,
yeah.
having her character die and leave 3 episodes before 2 episodes before the last episode. It would have been such a unique twist. She doesn't die or leave the show in the last episode. She leaves in the, what you call it. She leaves and she dies and Face the Raven, and that's the end. It would have been, if that had happened, I would have been putting her in very good, because I think her death in Face the Raven is done brilliantly. But then, yeah, just to me, the fact that they bring her back and just give her a TARDIS at the end of it and she flies off, it really I mean, the whole season kind of felt like it was, teaching Clara the consequences of being too much like the Doctor, and like the impact it will have. And then she goes off and literally becomes the Doctor.
yeah, I understand that. So,
Yeah.
all in all, where do we want to place Clara? Because I feel as if good, or are we feeling okay even?
I
I'm
think
pushing for good. I'm pushing for good right now.
I can say I can compromise and put her at the end of good.
Yeah,
Raven,
I'll compromise with Mateo, because I have such the opposite opinion on Hellbent. But for my namesake, I love Face the Raven,
It's
and
so good.
like what Heaven Sent does with dealing with grief, and then Hellbent just, it's
Shits on
already been said before, but yeah, I'll compromise a good.
I
Right,
am so surprised I got to good. I thought everybody was going to go bad. I'm so happy.
right. So these next two, I'm gonna chuck together because it kind of makes sense. Even
Mm.
like they leave in technically the same episode, or even though they kind of return an episode later. So Nardal, good character. works as a bit of a comic relief to the Doctor's serious side of things.
Debatable.
And then obviously, Bill Potts, who obviously, spoiler alert here, becomes the Cyberman thanks to the Master, and as a result gets quoted by the 13th Doctor when the Cybermen come back and try and fight the 13th Doctor. Bill gets a bit of a happy ending. Nardole,
not so much.
Yeah, not so much. I think he just goes off to get killed or whatever.
Yeah, he does.
By the Cybermen. But yeah, so how do we really rate their departures?
Can I start on that one?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I would actually rank Nardole's and Bill's a little bit differently, just because, like, Nardole's literally the only Moffat companion that he gives a sad ending to. Every other one is immortal, pretty much, or either immortal in some way, like Clara and Bill, or gets to live happily, like, with, you know, the marriage and stuff, like Amy and Rory.
Yeah.
Nardole's just stuck on a Cyberman ship, and like it's implied that he will die pretty soon.
It's so bad for him.
Like it's due. And I mean, for that, really, I put him in excellent.
I got a headcanon. Okay, my headcanon. Bill just goes and saves Nardole. Bill saves him.
I mean,
with her water powers.
It's very in character for Nardole for him to just die off screen at the hands of Cybermen, to be honest. It is perfectly in character for him. But now I might be a bit unpopular here. I'd personally put them both at the top of okay before
that's a bit low.
But that's mainly because I don't like their characters.
I love them. I will fight you right now.
I will fight you.
I will meet you in the streets.
Roast me, guys. Roast me. No, I'm just not keen on. I'm not keen on Series 10 in general, to be honest. It's probably one of my least favourite series. Yeah, it's the one whenever I'm binge watching the show, it's the one series that I'm like going, oh no.
This is revenge for me saying I don't like Series 3.
No, there's actually right. Let me just quickly get up on Wikipedia to see the episode.
You're telling this is the person with the Peter Capaldi cookie cutter.
Peter Capaldi is probably, in terms of New Who Doctors, maybe my least favourite.
I'm hurt.
But that's simply because this is an unpopular opinion. I loved him in Series 8 when he was this, a bit of a cold-hearted Doctor. He was even colder than the first Doctor, to the point where he was questioning whether or not he was still a good man. But then I just didn't like how I didn't like the direction they took him in with the following series, with like Clara having to have him read literally cue cards just so he can know how to talk to people. It just felt like a bit of like a mockery of the character, especially when they started going in on the whole sonic sunglasses. With a guitar, I think it's cool. Don't check my browser history. It just kind of felt like Stephen Moffat maybe saw criticism of the 12th Doctor being this cold version of the Doctor and was like, "Oh, quick, undo." But yeah, no, I'm not fond of Series 10, and I think the only two episodes I like of it are World Enough and Time and the Doctor Falls. But even then, I just didn't like Nardole and Bill enough to really care about their exits.
I should have felt this coming when I said that I hated Series 3.
Yeah, you should have.
It would come back to bite me.
I don't know. Yeah, it's just with Nardole. I wasn't either of them. I just wasn't really very fond of their characters like I was any of the other companions. I just didn't really click with them.
Can we at least compromise up to good?
I'm pushing for very good. I was going to push for excellent before. I'm pushing for very good still.
I'd put them before Clara, but after Rose and Adelaide.
Is that agreed?
I put Nardole. I'm fine with Nardole there, but I want to fight for Bill to be very good. I love Bill's exit.
Nah.
I was
mean,
sobbing.
Raven,
I
what
mean-
do you think?
See, now I feel like I'm disagreeing with Mateo because I was going to put Nardole's higher than Bill, but yeah, I love Bill more, but her exit I don't like as much.
Okay.
But
I'll concede. I'd say put Bill in very good, but before Jackson Lake, but after Rose, Jack, and Mickey.
So before Jackson Lake, but before.
I'd keep Nardole in good. Keep Nardole in good. But Bill, I'd put in very good between Mickey and Jackson.
yeah,
I can concede on Bill for that one.
Right. So
I'm fine with this. You fine with this?
we're down to the
Yeah,
final three, of which, well, technically there should be four.
Oh no, Dan. We forgot Dan.
Yeah, I apologise.
Just like the doctor.
Caremaker one didn't have Dan on, so I do apologise. So the final three,
Dan's here in our heart.
of which two go in one episode, and then the other two go in another episode. So Graham O'Brien, played by the brilliant Bradley Walsh. Where do we feel he should end up? Given
I wanna
he
hear your
lives
thoughts
in
first.
Revenge. Why did I say Revenge of the Daleks? No, I mean Revolution of the Daleks. Both him and Ryan leave in Revolution of the Daleks. To me,
Comes back.
Graham's feels more better in the long run, but Ryan's just feels just so unjustified.
I want to hear your two thoughts first before I say mine.
If I'm being honest, I barely remember. I barely remember their exit. If I'm being honest.
I'm coming in with the hot takes. Even I feel like over the course of like with the previous episode of the podcast, even though I don't even particularly like the 13th Doctor era, but here I am. I'm going to defend bits of it. I think Ryan's exit's better than Graham's because Graham leaves because Ryan goes.
Yeah.
I can get
Like, and the only bad thing I feel about Ryan's is that like he should have left sooner because his arc was pretty much done by the end of series 11.
He was so bored. He looked so bored.
Yeah, exactly. But I kind of just love that like he's the only one that gets 13 to ever open up to any of the companions. She doesn't tell to Yaz to the end, whereas Ryan goes like, right, stop what you shit and actually open up. He gets his arc in series 11. Series 12, he's just vibing, and then he's like,
I was doing finger puppets in the background.
Yeah, and then like in Can You Hear Me? He's like sort of realized like I think that's really the final point for him where he's like, okay, there's a time limit on how many times I can keep going away because friends back here.
Yeah.
And then so yeah, my only complaint for Ryan's is that he should have gone sooner. But I feel like Ryan's actually underappreciated as companions go. But that's my hot take.
So where do you put Ryan then, folks?
I was going to say I have an unpopular opinion on Ryan simply for the fact that, well, it's actually a bit of a unique one. I mean, because I don't like his character, but that being said,
that is not unpopular.
It's most people.
No,
that's the coolest thing I've ever heard.
Despite not liking his character, I think he has one of the strongest exits for the reason that Raven said. You know, it's his like Martha. He decides to go of his own accord. He leaves because he finds out that all this time that he's been flying off with the Doctor, his friends have been back at home struggling. And so the fact that he chooses to leave because he realises he doesn't need to travel with the Doctor anymore. I personally would put him good after Rose. The only reason I'm only putting him at good is because that's the only part of his character that I liked. I didn't like his character as general, but I liked his exit. So I'd say that's the only reason I wouldn't put him any higher, because overall though I don't like his character very much.
Sorry, Raven.
Really
Mateo?
quick. I just want to butter really quick. I never thought I would see the day where I would rank Ryan Sinclair above Clara Oswald. That's all I'm gonna say.
He had a more. He had a more. Well, he simply put, he had a better exit than she
Yeah.
did.
I mean, okay.
They didn't ruin his exit by suddenly like killing him off and then bringing him back the next episode.
This is
Ryan
where
should
you
have
get
gotten a TARDIS. Ryan should have gotten a TARDIS.
Should have kept the house.
Raven,
Should have got
agree?
that.
Agree with placing him after Rose?
I even though I've just defended it, I put him below Adelaide Brook.
Yeah, no,
I've just defended him, but yeah, I can't put him.
or at the very least, I can, agree with Matteo to a sense and put him after Clara.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
It's still in the good section, so it's not bad. And then, obviously, after what we've spoken about with Graham, I take it for some of you, you want him after
Yeah.
Ryan. So,
I'd
after
put
him-
Nardo, would you?
I'd put him exactly there. Actually, that's perfect. I think.
Yeah, me too.
And
Yeah.
last but not least,
Yasmin Khan, obviously, we will go into where we think Dan would go, but
Yeah. We can put him in post. Put him in post.
yeah, no worries.
I mean, Yaz is an interesting one, I think, because she wasn't really used much as a character. I've seen plenty of people say in the past, and I agree with them, that Yaz could have been removed from series 11 or 12, and aside from maybe Demons of the Punjab, considering that was her family, you wouldn't have really noticed her not being there.
Yeah.
But series 13, she then obviously, because Ryan and Graham have left, she has more of a role, but I don't know, and I say this as someone who, before series 13, who had been shipping Phasmin, it does kind of come out of left field. You know, we didn't see if they had slowly planted those seeds of Yaz having a crush on the Doctor through series 11 and 12, and then with her being the main companion of series 13, those feelings are brought to the forefront as a result. It would have massively improved the character, but it was the fact that she went from being barely there to suddenly having feelings for the Doctor being crammed in, you know, to the point where it just the whole thing came out of nowhere, and then the next thing you know, she's essentially being kicked off the TARDIS by the Doctor because the Doctor wasn't asked to see her regenerate.
Yeah. The only thing I'll disagree with there is that if you go back and watch series 12, I do think the seeds for her having feelings for the Doctor are more there in series 12. In series 11, I never got that vibe, but in series 12, like in Haunting of Villa Diodati, she pretty explicitly says it.
Yeah.
To another, I can't remember the name of which character it was, but
I will actually, I admit that actually that's on me. Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you there. She does. The last half of series 12, yeah, there's definitely hints of it.
Yeah, but series 11 though, they were obviously pushing like Ryan and Yaz together.
Yeah,
that's what Chibnall's idea was back then.
I always got but then you had I always got the vibe that Yaz's sister liked Ryan as well.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Watched that after we watched.
That was a weird one in general. But then I remember Yaz's mum pushing, "Oh, is the Doctor your new lover?" I think it was.
And the fact that the Doctor
almost
didn't
started
know.
the whole Tasmin.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, the fact that the Doctor didn't even know if they were together.
Yeah, it was weird. It was weird. So ultimately, where would we place Yasmin then? We thought very good, okay. It's entirely up to you, folks.
I personally would put her after Clara, but before Ryan, simply for the fact that despite the fact that she didn't really do much in series 11 and 12, when she got brought to the forefront in series 13 and the 2022 specials, I enjoyed her character a lot more than I enjoyed Ryan or Graham.
Right, that sounds great. And
No.
Raven, do you want to jump in? Sorry.
I was going to jump in because like I don't know, as also the resident queer woman of the podcast here today. Just for the Phasmin stuff, so I'm allowed to be harsher. I like Yaz more as a character, by like as you said through Flux and whatnot, but I don't think that her exit was good at all.
It was
doesn't
not good at
resolve,
all. No.
It doesn't resolve any of like the tension between her and the Doctor. And I don't just mean like the romantic stuff. I mean that Yaz essentially is in a very like toxic relationship with 13. Like
Mhm.
Yeah.
in the just repeatedly throughout Flux, the Doctor's like, "Would you just get off my back?" asking me questions and stuff, and it's like she just never opens up to it. And I thought,
Mhm.
like, okay, empower the Doctor, they'll at least, resolve it. Because it's a big part of 13's character as well, is that she's not emotionally open, but they just don't, and that's how it ends with the Doctor gets to get away with being like emotionally distant to the very end.
But in a way as well, the fact though that Yaz, as you said, Yaz, it definitely wasn't exactly the healthiest relationship between the two of them. But the fact that in a way Yaz gets to go to a Doctor support group,
But
I don't know.
but
It
she
kind of
doesn't choose it. Is the
Yeah.
thing? Like I think I'd have more. I'd like it more if it felt more like Yaz's choice, similar to like
Yeah.
Martha, because like Martha feels like she's in a toxic dynamic with the Doctor,
You get
in that
out.
she is purely rebound. She gets out. Yaz is told to go.
It's I feel sorry for the character of Yaz, and I feel sorry for Mandit because it it felt like a consequence of it. It wasn't. It felt like it was a consequence of, and this isn't his fault, but of Chris Chibnall leaving.
Mm-hmm.
Like it
Yeah.
wasn't done because that's what they wanted to do with the character. It was like, oh, this is the last episode. We haven't exactly resolved this dynamic, but they're not keeping Yaz on in series 14. Oh, bye.
They could have. Like, there's no reason why so much of Power of the Doctor was taken with other stuff when,
Yeah.
like, the heart of that story could have been the Doctor and Yaz's dynamic.
Yeah, like I
Mhm.
personally, I understand why he isn't doing it, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing Millie Gibson as Ruby Monday, Ruby Sunday.
Ruby Sunday, yeah.
But back when it was announced, and back when it was announced, obviously Russell T Davies was taking over, and it wasn't specified at the time what was happening with Yaz. I remember thinking maybe they're going to keep her, and maybe that would be very interesting to see how Russell T Davies writes the character of Yaz. But then Mandip confirmed in an interview that she would be leaving. So it just, I always felt sorry for the character because she got the short end of the stick in a way, and I think I don't think no offense to Chris Chibnall, but I don't think he handled the free companion dynamic very well.
Yeah.
This is why I say severely, I massively hope that we will see a massive redemption given to Yaz in Big Finish, if and when the time comes when Mandip Gill decides to do a few audios, because no doubt there are going to be opportunities there for her, and like we have seen with Mel and Ace, for example, just prime example. In fact, I'd even chuck in Perry whilst we're at it. Those kind of companions who perhaps didn't get the airtime they wanted to get on the TV show, or they should have got, they've been redeemed in Big Finish. And to an extent, there is even this hope that potentially with some of the spin-off stuff, Yasmin might go and become part of Unit for all we know. We don't know yet. Anything is still possible. And from the feeling I get from it is that Mandip Gill, I believe, would be very open to returning to Doctor Who. It's just an argument of how soon is it for her to come back, given she's only been out the TARDIS 6 months, something like that. Does she really want to go back in to that whole world
it's not really a problem. What do you call it? Jack came back not long after, did he?
He came back about less than 2 years after leaving in Parting of the Ways. Then came back a year after that, and then.
So, But yeah, I mean, I would like to see her either in Big Finish or in the unit show. I definitely think her character would definitely benefit from being in the unit show because she seems like the type of character that Kate Stewart would be looking to like the type of person that Kate would be looking to recruit for unit. You know, a former associate of the Doctor. She already has her
Mhm.
training with the police, so she's not exactly a civilian recruit.
And obviously, even though it's not here right now as we're filming it, we're gonna chuck it in post. Where do we think Dan would go in general?
Bad. I feel so bad for him, but bad.
I'd say okay at least, simply because he was funny.
So
No, I love this character, but his exit, I just feel so bad for him. He had no house, got nothing from the doctor. The doctor's like, "Okay, bye, leave. I don't like you anymore.
I
Shoot."
don't. I don't think. I don't think he even. What's his? I can't even remember his name. I can see his name in my head.
Dan Lewis or John Bishop? Do you mean
John
that?
Bishop, that's it.
Yeah.
I don't think John even knew. I don't think he was even expecting to do the like. No, that was it. Yeah, because they originally weren't. They were originally only doing the free specials, weren't they? So he then obviously
Yeah.
made the thing with a tour, and then he got told, "Oh yeah, by the way, we're doing, you know, this big centenary special." But obviously at that point he could only do the opening. So like Yaz, how I said with Yaz got the short end of the stick because of the whole free companion dynamic. He got the short end of the stick simply because of schedule conflicts, and as a result he wasn't able to have the send off he deserves. You know,
So
he gets told by the woman that he likes that she's no longer interested, and then as you said, the next time we see him, he's choosing to leave the Doctor without a home.
so whoever
Yeah,
is
like
editing this, I say where the mouse is right now. If they could put
Yeah,
Dan in there,
that's fair.
thank
He's
you very
yeah.
much.
he's not bad, but yeah, he probably had the short end of the stick more than any companion.
The shortest end of the stick.
Yeah,
The
I feel bad.
tiniest.
I would have put Yaz's exit below. Like, I feel bad that I would actually put Yaz's in bad because
really.
Yaz deserves better. Yaz deserves better in my.
Yeah, I can
Oh,
see
she
that.
definitely did, yeah. But at
Maybe,
least she got some form of closure. But she got
maybe,
something.
maybe,
Yaz got ice cream. Dad didn't get ice cream. Yaz got ice cream.
maybe put Yaz at the top of OK, but before Kylie Minogue. Maybe there,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
because
Yeah.
she wasn't a one-off. She wasn't
Mm.
just a casual farewell like the pattern off
She
with
wasn't
Yaz.
James Corden.
Yeah, but she still got a very short end of the stick. And then yeah, I'd put Dan after Strax simply because of the fact that, as you said, he got the shortest end of the stick, all because of scheduling
He didn't
conflict.
even get ice cream. I feel
No,
so bad.
So
he literally disappears he literally says goodbye at the end of the episode, returns briefly at the end, and that's it for his character.
Yeah.
it's weird. But thank you ever so much, guys. Ladies, gentlemen, everyone else who has joined with tonight's activities. Thank you to my three guests, Luke, Mateo, and Raven. It's been an
I think
absolute pleasure. Do you
I was
folks want to give any final comments?
I was going to say before we go, I think we should all maybe say who our favourite new Who companion is.
Ooh.
Sure.
This is hard.
So who are we feeling, folks?
I mean, I'm personally going to go with Martha.
I knew it.
Yeah.
No, not just because of her ending though, but because personally, I'm the complete opposite to you, Raven. I actually love It's not my favourite series of New Who, but I really enjoy Series 3. And I loved her kind of growth as a companion, how she starts off traveling with the Doctor because she fancies him, comes to accept throughout of it that she doesn't have a chance, and leaves on her own accord. And I love her in all the episodes. I mean, I know the Family of Blood two-parter is a very sensitive topic considering the themes of the show with her being a black companion in a very racist time period. But I love her. I loved how those two episodes put her at the forefront. You know, she was the main character of those 2 episodes,
Mhm.
and then obviously her journey in the last 2 episodes. You know, having to becoming the woman who travelled the earth. You know, I just for that reason I love her character.
So, Mateo, who is your favourite companion?
Obviously, Craig Owens. He's the best. I'm joking. I'm joking. Can you not tell? It's Clara. Clara Oswald. I love her. She's the best. Ignore 7B. 7B didn't happen. 7B was a bad dream.
See, I always get a lot of flack for this, but my favourite Clara is 7B Clara.
Yeah.
She has no character. She's a
I
piece of
know,
cardboard, respectfully. I love her.
no,
But she's a piece of cardboard there.
But
I
it's
still
because-
maintain, contrary to belief, I still maintain 7B should have just been Series 8 and so forth. Because there is such a difference between 7A and 7B. You can't, how can anyone say, that's the same series? It's 2 completely different companion dynamics.
But I personally, it's a very unpopular opinion, but I personally prefer 11 and Clara as a dynamic to 12 and Clara.
Yeah, I agree on that.
I love that. I love that
Mhm.
they had that. They were honestly, it was like 2 kid best friends. Like they were like 2 kids who met on the school playground and were instantly like we're best friends, and that was their dynamic. You know, they just had fun together. They travel. They went traveling and they just had a blast together. And I love that. I much prefer that dynamic to 12 and Clara,
So,
where where 12 and Clara in a way at some points almost felt a bit toxic to me.
That's what I like about it.
So I must ask,
I love the
Raven,
toxicity.
what is your opinion? What do you think in general?
If I can group them together, Amy and Rory.
Yeah, I can get.
Oh yeah, good
Yeah.
choice.
It makes sense in fairness. So yeah.
Yeah, series 6 is it's even though it's not even my favorite series, but it's so different and very much does its own thing, and I feel like it's super underrated. And the ponds, like it's just like that TARDIS team feels like a nice like family,
Yeah,
a
it
weird
really
like dysfunctional one, but yeah.
it really
Mhm.
expands their relationship in a way that it improves their characters. You know, it really like you really see those 2 evolve as characters and their relationship evolve.
Plus, it ties so much into the 11th Doctor's arc. Like he stops progressing like with Clara and everything. Like his arc's so tied to
Yeah,
Amy and Rory.
but it is like with I don't know if I have to say it. Like in series 5 with Amy and Rory, there is definitely an argument of like whether or not she actually loves him in that series. But then in series 6, and then eventually, obviously, the end of series 7 with Angels Take Manhattan, you can clearly see yes, Amy does love him.
Yeah.
She might not, she might struggle to show it, but yes, she loves him.
So I feel as if I've had you 3 lovely people tell me your favourite companion. I'm gonna actually copy Luke in saying Martha is probably my favourite companion out of the new Who in general. Overall, for me, Martha, yes, she becomes a soldier, so to speak, from being a nurse to a soldier in the long run, but ultimately she realises her self-worth come the end of
Yeah.
series 3, and that's what I like, is that she realises, look, yes, it would have been lovely to date the Doctor, be in a relationship with him, but it's almost like as if she realises, look, I ain't going to be your rebounder, I'm going to be an actual person. And it is a shame how she does become this soldier in the end. Out of all of that Children of Time, she is the soldier out of the whole lot of them. But ultimately, there has to be one person who's, got to be the soldier, and so to speak,
But
she does
She
Yeah.
still
well.
gets a doctorate. She still becomes a doctor. I'm
Oh,
not I'm
yeah.
not having Martha be a
Yeah,
nurse.
the military
Nah,
doctor.
she's full
Yeah.
on doctor.
Oh yeah, and that in itself is great. I love her in the Suntaran two-parter. I feel it works really well, even though she spends half of it as an actual clone. But it still works. And yeah, all in order, I'd actually have to say my favourite companion in general is either Stephen or Jamie myself, but that's me being a classic Who fan, I suppose. But yeah, Martha takes my title of favourite Who companion, but I do apologise for how long this video has gone on for. I do sincerely apologise, but it's been fantastic to have you folks here tonight. If you are new to the channel watching this, please hit that subscribe button with the notification bell on so you are aware of every time we are uploading. A massive thank you to my 3 guests who have been nothing short of diamonds tonight. Luke, Mateo and Raven, thank you ever so much, folks. It's been an absolute honour. Here is our final tier list. Basically, if you're a fan of Riversong, Donna, Amy, Rory or Wilfred Mott, you're going to be happy with us. But if you're a fan of Craig Owens, you're not going to be happy with us. So I apologise either way. But
and whoever is editing this video, leave a link to the tier list in the description, so if anyone watches this, they can maybe put together their own list.
Yes, exactly. I echo Luke's comments. Please, 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 let us know your own tier list. You know, let us know if it'd be a bit different, if you chuck Lady Christina in excellent, or if you would chuck Graham's in bad, or whatever. I don't know. I'm just thinking of ideas. But yeah, thank you so much, everyone. It's been an absolute pleasure, and we'll see you in the next one.